Monstera are some of the most loved and famous houseplants. With over 45 different species, these beautiful plants are native to Central America and can be found in most nurseries and big box shops. Due to the popularity of Monstera, more and more stunning varieties are being brought to market and becoming available to plant lovers, the most common being the Monstera deliciosa, named Monstera for the large, monstrous leaves, and deliciosa for the delicious fruit it bears. These plants are very hardy in their natural environment and easy growers. This results in them being terrific, hardy, and easy care houseplants. As I've mentioned, there are many other lovely and easy care Monstera varieties to be found. In this episode of my Houseplant Care 101 series brought to you by rePotme.com, I'm going to share some of the best Monstera houseplants we are seeing on the market and how to grow them into big, lush, huge plants while they're in your home. This Houseplant Care 101 series is sponsored by rePotme.com. With rePotme, you can have all of your houseplant supplies delivered right to your door. They are a one-stop shop for all of your houseplant, orchid, or succulent needs. They have custom handmade houseplant soils ranging from tropical houseplants, cactus and succulents, pothos, snake plants, and more. I cannot live without their clear slotted orchid pots. They have amazing houseplant fertilizers and so much more. I've included their link in my description below, and you can get 10% off any soil with my code Ashley. With Monstera being so incredibly popular, they can be found at most plant stores. This includes local nurseries and big box shops. One helpful tip is to think about how large you would like your plant to grow before you purchase your plant. If the goal is to end up with a large plant, I do recommend purchasing the largest plant possible within your budget. Even the faster growing indoor plants can take a very, very long time to grow due to conditions within our homes. As with all plants, purchasing a healthy plant to start with is an important step in setting yourself up for success. Some simple steps to take at the store are: first, check the leaves for pests or disease. 2. Check the roots to make sure there's no root rot or mushy brown roots, and avoid overly waterlogged soil. And the third is to try to choose a plant that looks healthy and has new growth. So you found the perfect plant, now what? Location, location, location. Where you decide to place your plant will be one of the determining factors in how well your plant will grow. Plants are a perfect way to bring beauty and a cozy feel to living spaces. Almost all Monstera varieties enjoy bright indirect light, so it's important that wherever you place your plant, there is enough light for the plant to thrive. Now, if the place you've chosen is a lower light area, incorporating grow lights is a wonderful way to provide supplemental lighting for your plant. I do recommend avoiding full sun because the leaves can become sunburnt with Monstera. There are some easy ways to tell if your Monstera isn't getting enough light. For example, if the new leaves are smaller than the previous ones, or the new leaves have less fenestrations than the older ones, it could need more light. Happy roots equals happy plant. Another important thing to keep in mind when trying to grow your Monstera into the largest, healthiest plant it can be is that the healthier the roots are, typically the happier the plant is. Today I'm repotting a Monstera Thai constellation and a small Monstera albo. Now this Thai constellation is absolutely beautiful, but it has stopped putting out new leaves, and I believe this is due to the fact that the plant has become very root bound and the soil is not retaining moisture any longer. My small Monstera albo is also struggling. It had put out some new leaves last year. It has dropped a few. The leaves are yellowing. So I think doing a repot would be a good idea to investigate the roots and just give this little plant a new start. Here are a few tips to ensure that your plant has the happiest roots possible. Bigger plants need bigger pots. One of the things I've personally learned in my journey with my Monstera collection is that Monstera can quickly stop growing if their pot is too small. Try to avoid repotting too soon, as plants always prefer being somewhat root bound, and too much soil around the roots can lead to other problems. However, if your Monstera's roots have filled out their pot like mine has, and it's not putting out new leaves or growth has slowed down, repotting is always a good idea. Keep in mind that Monstera do typically slow down at the end of the growing season and will hold off on putting out new growth during the winter months. The best time to repot is at the beginning of the growing season, and it's advisable to go 1 to 2 sizes larger and not any bigger than that. Now, I personally love decorating with my plants, and I enjoy switching out my decorative pots from time to time. However, I don't like to repot my plant every time I use a new decorative pot. My solution is that I like to use clear slotted orchid pots or nursery pots on as many plants as I can. With the clear orchid pots, not only can I easily place it in decorative pots, but I can keep an eye on the state of the roots and gauge how much moisture is in the pot all the way down to the bottom of the roots. Monstera soil recipe. Giving your Monstera the correct soil that mirrors its natural habitat is one of the easiest steps that you can take in making sure the roots of your plant remain healthy and happy. Monstera are aroids and are usually found climbing the sides of trees. This means their roots are used to having airflow and your soil will need to be well draining. The number one suggestion I have is to avoid using a basic potting mix. Many times these potting mixes are designed to retain moisture, and for plants like Monstera, this can quickly lead to root suffocation and root rot. However, if you have a potting mix, you can quickly make your own soil. There are many different recipes out there for Monstera soil, but a simple recipe would be a 50% potting mix and 50% other substrate, such as orchid bark, perlite, pumice, or a blend of many different substrates. The main goal here is to keep the soil airy and well draining for the plant's roots. There are also custom-made houseplant soils available on the market that help simplify the process for plant owners. Some of these Monstera varieties can be incredibly expensive, like the 2 that I'm repotting today, and with soil being so important, it's helpful to purchase the perfect mix. I'm using the Monstera soil from rePotme.com as it's customized and pre-made. To me, I find it's worth the investment to have a great soil when I do repot every 1 or 2 years to help prevent issues that come from other soils. Moss poles, planks, and trellises. In addition to keeping the soil roots happy, there are things we can do to keep the aerial roots happy. These plants are natural climbers, and giving the aerial roots something to climb is one of the best ways to grow your Monstera into a huge plant. The 3 main options are moss poles, planks, and trellises. All 3 are great and entirely depend on your personal preference. If you decide to use a moss pole, it's best to keep the moss pole moist so the aerial roots stay hydrated. If you decide to use a plank, the Monstera will eventually attach itself to the plank as it would in nature. High humidity can help with this process, and if you don't have high humidity, using a spray bottle on the plank will help the roots to attach. Just make sure that when you set up, you place the plank, moss pole, or trellis against the aerial roots on the back of the plant. I usually use a zip tie, and this will enable the new plant growth to attach. Feeding our hungry Monsteras. It's always important to feed Monstera plants, especially during the growing season. Monstera are known for their beautiful, amazing leaves, which require a lot of nutrition to grow. Begin at half strength at the beginning of the growing season, full strength during the growing months, and then taper off at the end of the growing season. Hold off on fertilizing during the winter months unless you're seeing new growth, and if you're seeing new growth during the winter months, you can fertilize at half strength. Now, there are many different options for fertilizer out there. You can go the organic route or synthetic route, but to keep it simple, choose one that says for houseplants and always start with a mild mixture to avoid burning your plant's roots. Increase as needed. Now, I really hope these tips help you in your journey to grow your Monstera into big, beautiful plants. If you have any helpful tips and suggestions, please leave them in the comments below, as it's always helpful for our plant community. I do have many other episodes in my Houseplant Care 101 series that you might find helpful. If you'd like to see future episodes show up in your newsfeed, make sure to subscribe, and we also have a wonderful community on Instagram if you'd like to join us. Thank you so much for watching, and thanks again to rePotme for sponsoring my Houseplant Care 101 series. I've included a link in my description below to their amazing plant care products, and don't forget you can get 10% off any custom-made houseplant soil with code Ashley. Thanks so much, you'll definitely be seeing me soon. Bye!